Hey, this is Kate, the Daily Tarot Girl, and this is your weekly reading, and I'm going to be doing an oracle card reading for this week's reading. I know I normally use tarot cards, but I'm going to branch out. I've got a new oracle deck that I am absolutely obsessed with. It's called the Citadel Oracle. It's a fantasy oracle by Inkwright, and I am just so smitten with this deck, and so I thought I would use these cards for this week's reading. And I am joined by my by my kitty Merlina. She'll probably be chiming in with her opinions throughout the reading, I'm sure. So my whole intention with this week's reading is to just get a general overview of the week ahead and some of the themes and energies coming up so that we can make the most of the week ahead. And as always, I invite you to share your own take on these cards in the comment section. And if you're new here, welcome. I post these videos every week, usually on a Friday or a Saturday. So please subscribe if you enjoy this reading and leave me a comment. Okay, so let's dive into the reading here. Let's start with, let's see. Okay, let's start with the first card, which is going to be Monday and Tuesday of the upcoming week. And we have the Patron, which is all about mentorship and finances. Interesting. Okay. All right, so as I gaze at this card, and reading oracle cards is a little bit different than reading tarot. I find that with tarot, I tend to rely more on some of the traditional meanings and symbols on the card, whereas with oracle, I tend to focus more on like the imagery and the artwork a little bit more, depending on what deck I'm working with. So my process for reading oracle cards is slightly different. Now, what I'm noticing as I look at this card is the open book, and then the way the hands are positioned. The hands are kind of open. Now, it's really dramatic. We have these keys or pins or something going right through the palms of these hands. And so a few things are coming to mind. I get this feeling of openness, but also feeling kind of, I want to say stuck a little bit or limited, like you're being sort of pinned down in some way. So the first thing I get with this card is you might find yourself wanting to avoid commitments this week, yet simultaneously feeling the need to make commitments, like knowing that you're going to have to commit to something if you want to see something through, but also kind of feeling like you don't want to limit yourself. That's what I'm getting from this card. That's the overall vibe I get. It's like, I don't want to limit myself, but at some point I'm going to have to make some kind of a commitment. So there's all different ways that this could play out. And of course the card, it's called the Patron, and it's about mentorship and finances. So I feel like this overall may relate more strongly to like career, work, money, things like that. And it'll be interesting to see what the other cards are. I kind of don't want to say anything more about this card before I turn over the other cards to see what those cards have to say. So let's have a look at the next card, the Herald. Small regrets and longing. So this is for, excuse me, this is for the middle of the week. So like Wednesday, Thursday-ish. And this is an interesting card with the snakes entwined. And to me, I know it's like a completely different symbol to the Patron. Lots of different stuff going on here, but I feel like the snakes entwined just makes me think of these pins going through the palms of the two hands, and this feeling of being kind of entangled or maybe even trapped a little bit. So that's kind of continuing through the week. But we have an eye right in the middle that's wide open. And then there's the hare that's kind of leaping. Okay, so what do we make of this? Oh, and there's also an eye here in this book, so that's kind of cool. Now, what really strikes me about this center card is the theme of direction. So we have the hare who's going in one direction but looking over his shoulder, and then we have the snakes that are entwined, but they're both going in kind of opposite directions. And like the card says, this is about longing and small regrets. So you may long to go in one direction but feel pulled in another direction, or you may feel drawn to do one thing but feeling like you should do the opposite. And you may find yourself going in a particular direction or making certain choices, but then kind of being like that hare, kind of looking back and like, am I doing the right thing? Should I do something different? Am I making the right choices? So there is this feeling of kind of inner conflict, maybe a little bit of self-doubt happening midweek. And what I'm gathering here, it's almost like, just like with the first card, there is sort of a need to commit to something, even if you feel that by committing to something, you'll be limiting yourself. It's kind of still this need to kind of make a choice or make a decision. And we have the two pins that are like crossed, just like the snakes are kind of crossed. And then with the herald, the middle card, we have this sort of need to get clear on what direction we're going in and to commit to that direction fully and not keep looking over our shoulders and thinking, are we making the right choice? Are we doing the right thing? So let's see what the third card is, because so far I feel like this week is kind of sort of up in the air where we're like, I don't know. It feels sort of almost confusing. So let's see what this third card is. So here we have the sleeper. And this card says cause and effect and clarity. And the eye in the center is closed, which is so interesting to me that this card is about clarity and finding clarity, yet the eye is closed. And it makes me think of the High Priestess. And there's even like two pillars on either side. So I'm referring to the High Priestess card in the tarot deck, where the High Priestess is sitting between these two pillars. And just like the High Priestess card, that card is all about kind of moving inward as opposed to moving outward. And with this card, the sleeper, I feel like in order to get clarity on all of this, we actually need to kind of tune out distraction and tuning out all the stuff that's kind of stimulating around us and move inward. As we move in towards the center, that is really the only way that we're going to find clarity this week. And I think it's so interesting that both of these cards are quite busy. They're light colored and they're kind of busy. And then we get to the third card, and this is a darker card. We've got the closed eye. This is really about kind of moving inward. And I feel like all these little plumes and clouds around here can symbolize sort of feeling confused, feeling like things are shrouded in mystery, and that may drive you to move inward to try to find answers and try to find a sense of direction. So a few things that pop into my head with this sleeper card. This makes me think about really prioritizing things like meditation this weekend, or even just sleep, getting enough rest, getting enough sleep, prioritizing meditation, creating some space and finding the time to journey inward, however that looks like for you. So I love doing guided meditations. I also like doing journaling. Those are my kind of preferred methods of moving inward. But for you, maybe it's just going for a long walk and not listening to a bunch of music, like just going for a long walk and letting your mind clear out. Or maybe it's doing yoga or or hypnosis or artwork, or maybe you have some other method of moving inward. But this is what the advice of these cards seems to be, especially this third card, is to really prioritize your relationship with yourself and moving inward. I kind of feel like I'm saying the same kinds of things that I would about this card that I would about the High Priestess if that tarot card popped up in this space. So let's look at all three of these cards together. Let's see if there's any other themes that pop out here. I think it's interesting. We have the triangle, and then it's inverted, and then it's upright again. I feel like this week overall is going to be about finding a sense of calm and peacefulness and getting clear on what direction you're going in. It feels like there's a lot of moving parts this week. There's a lot of things that might try to grab your attention and distract you, and you may feel pulled in different directions. Kind of like when I was talking about the center card, you may feel drawn to go one direction, but then maybe you should go in the other direction. Like you're going to feel that sense of being pulled in different ways. And overlying that, there's going to be this desire for freedom, and it's almost like you may feel allergic to making commitments and tying yourself down. Like you really don't want to be tied down this week. And this is sort of the antidote to all of this. Whatever issues come up this week, the one thing that's going to be helpful is tuning inward, tuning out distractions, creating a little bit of time and space for yourself to journey inward. It may even be as simple as just lying down for a nap or listening to some nice music while you meditate. But it does feel like that can be very beneficial this week. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to you. Which card do you gravitate to? Which card do you feel really symbolizes what's going on in your life right now? Or what card do you really like the most? Like which one just really appeals to you the most? Let me know in the comment section below. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this reading helpful. I hope it gave you some ideas. You can check out my website, dailytarotgirl.com. I'll post the link below. And there's lots of fun tarot learning resources on there for you to check out. So give it a look, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Thanks for watching.